Sarah says I've been slacking in my glitch pitch duties, so here are two awesome games you should check out in this week's glitch pitch doubleheader. While the initial premise is going to sound a bit teen horror cliche, stick with me. Night School Games' Oxenfree begins with a group of high school students on their traditional rite of passage. Head to the nearby decommissioned military island and spend the night partying on the beach, complete with beers, special brownies, truth or dare, and ghosts that haunt the radio waves on the island. You play as Alex, a young high school student seemingly tagging along on this island romp with her best friend Ren, Jonas, her stepbrother whom she just met, Ren's crush Nona, and the quintessential bitch that is Clarissa. The game centers around Alex exploring the island, using her handheld radio to tune into frequencies that range from creepy piano to Morse code to disembodied voices telling stories from the past. Saying anything further will ruin the suspense and excitement of the story, and I highly recommend going into this game as blind of the story as possible. Just know that Oxenfree transforms quickly into an unnerving psychological thriller best played late at night. What Oxenfree does amazingly well is place you deep in Alex's world. The conversations around you feel natural, and dialogue choices are paced in such a way that does not leave a lot of room for BioWare-style consideration. You don't have time to think about which response will progress your story best, which makes every decision feel like a natural subconscious choice. This, coupled with absolutely excellent writing and voice acting, creates a deep connection with Alex and the characters around you. And if that wasn't enough, the game looks downright beautiful, and the soundtrack, composed by electronic artist SCN TFC, does a great job of both relaxing and totally unsettling you on a whim. Oxenfree's only negative moments tend to be the ones spent trekking or backtracking across the island, but the character interactions allow for interesting conversations to fill the gaps, and can vary between which of your teenage friends tag along. Between the variations in dialogue and the multiple endings to discover, Oxenfree has more replayability than its other story-based game competition. On an unprofessional and personal note, between perfectly personifying the coming-of-age feeling in the most natural and effortless manner, and the way the game addresses life after the loss of a loved one, Oxenfree contains one of the more powerful and moving narratives I've encountered in recent games. And if any game can warm and soothe this cold, dead heart of mine, it's worth checking out. Oxenfree is available on both PC and Xbox One. And from the new studio Motiga comes the action MOBA Gigantic. Players are accompanied by ancient, hulking, three-story beasts of power, and the only objective is to topple the opposing team's ancient. Power is built up by the heroes attacking control points and weak spots on the enemy ancient until your ancient can strike and stun the other, requiring the offensive team to push deep into the enemy base and strike the ancient directly. This back-and-forth combat is supported by securing control points for your team, and to defend the points, teams can summon creatures that offer healing or vision for the heroes. Still in closed beta, Gigantic is directly competing with fellow third-person action MOBAs like Overwatch and Battleborn, and it has some work to do. While it doesn't quite have Battleborn's expansive roster or Overwatch's focus on team play and shooter mechanics, Gigantic shines in its ability to create totally unique combat experiences for its melee and ranged heroes. The multiplayer in Gigantic is much less focused on team play. Each champion feels capable of taking any other down in a reasonable matchup, and there's a distinct lack of dedicated healer or support classes. Whether this is a good or bad thing is up to interpretation, but I never found myself worrying about what my teammates were doing, or felt as though any of the other heroes' skills had much of an impact on my fights outside of pure damage. And between how long the summons take on the control points and the relative uselessness of all but one of the creatures, outside of the points in the middle of the map, no inner control point seems to have much of a threat of shifting control. So everything comes down to pure player versus player combat. On the other hand, Gigantic is the only one of the three to be launching as free-to-play, offering the traditional MOBA pay-to-unlock all the heroes model through currency earned by leveling up and completing challenges. However, at the moment, the system has yet to be implemented, so we cannot fully comment on how effective this will be. As well, the game is very tightly wound into the Windows 10 and Xbox infrastructure, with the game requiring a Windows account to log in. And many users on their forums and subreddit, not already well integrated into the infrastructure, have expressed issues with the Xbox app and Windows platform. Since Gigantic is still deep in beta, all of this is subject to change. At the time of production, a balancing patch and progression reset are being applied, one of many scheduled in the upcoming weeks. Motiga has yet to announce an official release date, but Gigantic will be available as a free-to-play title on both Xbox One and Windows 10. That's it for this week's Glitch Pitch. If you'd like to stay up on all the latest gaming news, subscribe to our channel and follow us on Twitter @GlitchFeed. We'll be back tomorrow with another Daily Glitch.